These guys jumped into the sea one after another. Can you guess that they jumped into the sea for fish? Have you ever seen coconut leaves for trap fishing? Today, we will talk about this magical fishing method of Vietnamese fishermen. The fishermen drove their boats to the fishing area early in the morning. They were not casting nets for fishing today, but we're going to make some traps and put them into the sea. These coconut leaves were hung at the stern of the boat, which were used to make traps, while these stones were made of sand. It is used to ensure that the coconut leaves can sink into the sea. The fishermen tied the stone with coconut leaves. The coconut leaf trap was dozens of meters long. The fishermen would also use a bamboo pole tied with the rope and put it into the sea for marking, and then put the coconut leaf trap sinks to the bottom of the sea. In fact, this coconut leaf trap is used to create a shelter for the fish. If it attracts the fish here, the fisherman can catch them all with nets. But it takes 1 day for fish to settle in the trap. On the second day, the fishermen came near the trap set yesterday. The fishermen surrounded the sea area near the trap with nets. Some fishermen had a tube in their mouth and used it as an oxygen cylinder, and then they jumped into the sea. Other fishermen drop huge nets into the sea on their boats. After a while, the fishing nets formed a large circle, and the divers began to collect the nets in the sea. It can be seen that many fish have entered the traps they put down yesterday. In order to catch fish as much as possible, the divers drags the net in the sea. They are very powerful, as they can walk freely on the seabed with the air tube in their mouth. They dragged the net to the coconut leaf trap. It can be seen that there are already many fish in the net at this time. The fisherman has already tied the net. After the work in the sea was completed, the fishermen on the boat began to collect the net. How can there be no modern machinery for such a huge net? Use the machine to pull the net up, and after a while, the net will be closed with only a small opening. Underwater, you can see a lot of fish in the fishing net. There are quite a lot of fish in this net. Because there are too many fish, the fishermen have to catch some of the fish first. The fish that are caught are immediately put into the cabin to keep fresh. Although there are many fish, most of them are small fish, and some larger fish are placed in additional baskets. In this net, this slap-sized fish is also considered as a big fish. Look how happy this man is to catch this big fish. Do you know what kind of fish this is called? Let us know in the comment section. This trap is quite effective. The fish are caught one by one, and the fishermen sitting on the deck are constantly picking up the fish that fell from their net pockets. After a while, most of the fish in the net were caught. The fishermen lifted the last small fish on the bottom of the net to the deck and poured all the small fish into the cabin. In order to keep all the fish fresh, they add ice to the cabin and spread the fish evenly on the ice. After all the small fish were dealt with, the fisherman took the 2 biggest fish that he caught this time and started to show off. See how happy they are. A few big fish are already very satisfied. Fishermen drive their boats to the pier because they want to sell the freshest fish. When the fishing boats are approaching the pier, there is a small boat, and they come over to buy the small fish they just caught. After a while, the small fish will be loaded into the small boat, which is quite a lot. However, the cabin was also cleared of a lot of fish at this time, and the remaining ones were considered big fish, and they would sell these big fish to a second fishmonger. When the boat moved to the wharf, the fishmongers rushed to buy all the fish. When they came to the seafood market, they were not worried that the fish would not be sold. Well, I will share it here in this issue. Subscribe me and show you a different world.